So it has been a little while since I uploaded my last Geoguessr video. I know a lot of you guys like these videos, and it's not like I haven't been playing, because I have been a little bit here and there, mostly on stream in between games like MLB or Splitgate or whatever I'm playing. But I'm itching to just do another Geoguessr video. I need to upload to this third channel. I know a lot of you guys are looking for this content, so I figure let's go ahead and record one. And like usually I'll have a theme, like 10 seconds, no moving, panning, or zooming. Pretty much the hardest way to play Geoguessr, but today, just getting back into it, we're gonna do no move. I don't move, I just don't. Why? Because I think anyone could just go around on the map and like click forward, forward, forward until you find a major street. I think it's a lot more difficult to just be spawned in, and I'm gonna give myself the ability to look around. Already knew this was Russia, but I can, kind of help you guys improve. I'm not the best at this game. I'm not even near close. I would say I'm definitely significantly better than average, but as far as the top tier players go, I'm not even remotely close. So what I will say is I'll walk you guys through each round, how I'll, try and get the correct location. Sometimes there's just not a lot to go off of, and I'll give you guys my general thought process. It's usually gonna come down to the landscape. Sometimes it's gonna come down to the bollards, which are these little road sticks, the trees, the road lines, how good the road looks, and even the Google car itself. All these things can be useful. Even the sun with the compass in the lower left here. Go ahead and move my camera slightly so you guys can see. But we're in Russia. How do I know that? Well, Russia will do this thing where they stack bollards on the end of like intersections such as this. We also see pretty northern looking trees, which are like the skinny white birch trees. We also see the Cyrillic. That's what that little Russian language is with the characters. It's not always Russia, but this is, this is Cyrillic, and it happens to be Russia as well. Now, where exactly is this? This location looks familiar, but it's going to be particularly tough to find it. Russia is really, really big. I'm not going to look for it for too long, but I'm looking for this one. It looks like, backwards N, PK, Y, TCK. And I'll do a quick look. I'm not really getting a great general feel about where this could be in Russia, because Russia is just so massive. It's pretty hilly, which is, I would say, somewhat unusual of Russia. Maybe I'll check in here. I think it could definitely be in this area somewhere. You will start to see it get a little bit more hilly around here. But I'm not really seeing, at least, from a preliminary scan, not really seeing what I need to see. But I think I'd definitely be comfortable with putting it somewhere in this area, at least for now. And I'll also look to the far east as well. It's not usually over here, but sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. And it's really, really tough to score points in Russia. And if I see it and I miss it, sorry about that. But I'm doing the best that I can. And you'll find often that it's just not good enough. There it is, by the way, right there. Irkutsk. That's definitely what that is. 172 miles to the general northeast. I mean, it could really just be... Really could just be to the west, actually. So it could just be to the west. And that right there, as you can see, is here, which seems to be a pretty neighboring town. So I would be okay to say we're somewhere on that road, or at least close to it, because we can see that that town's going to be to, well, it looks like the general south, actually. Again, maybe not. Maybe it's to the east. So we could be here. And let's see, we're on a road. It's a connecting road, north-south. Kind of twists around in the northeast. I guess I could see it being here. Doesn't really match, though. It doesn't really match because it's not an intersection. Could be maybe even here. We know this road is like basically east-west. I know I'm really going hard to find this, but a great guess on round 1 in Russia. Oh, that'd be so excellent. I almost think it could be here too. Just because we have a road that kind of goes multiple different directions like that. I'm just not sure how they orient the road. But I think it could be there, maybe. Could be there. Again, I'm just not really sure. I think this kind of matches. I'm actually happy with that. I think I'm going to put it down. 128 miles away. So it wasn't nearly as close. The reason I ended up going particularly close to that one is because on the sign here, we didn't get a distance. We just got the name of the place. And then to Irkutsk, it was 172 meters. In Russia, it's tough to gauge distance because it's so big. So I figured, oh, we're going to be pretty close to here. And then I guess that could be... That, now that I'm seeing it, is probably closer to like 800 meters away. Something crazy. But yeah, not terrible for the first time around. I'm happy that I recognized the language enough to be able to figure out fairly close to where it was. Kind of long on round 1, but I think it was worth it with the points we scored. Obviously didn't 5K. I'm just not that good enough to be able to do that on a round like that, but I think we're in the US. I don't know the area code. 434, just don't know it. Nolan Real Estate, 39 acres for sale. We have a little bollard here. That's just, it's like a reflector to help to see during driving at night. No passing zone. We have clearly English. White road lines on the outside. Yellow in the middle. I'm thinking it's the US, especially with the mailbox. Especially with the phone number. Could it be Canada? I think it could be. I don't think it is, though. I think it's probably in this general area. I will say that, like, the US is really, really, really tough because a lot of it just looks the same. Like, you could have a round during the fall or winter in Georgia that looks like Wisconsin. Could this be Wisconsin? Certainly could be. I don't know if 434 area code. I'm going to go with my initial click. And we are 240 miles away. I was right. We were in the general area. We were in Virginia. And maybe I'll remember that 434 is, I don't even know. There's not really a super close big city there. Maybe Roanoke to Richmond in the middle there. Tough to say exactly. But round 3. Okay. We know immediately. How do we know? Well, this car is helpful. Like, you see this little antenna? That's helpful. That pops up in, I think, only 4 countries when it looks like this, which is Colombia, Brazil, Ecuador, and Mexico. Yellow middle lines, pretty typical of Brazil. And you see this pole? You're going to see poles like this also sometimes in Portugal and France. And Chile will have some similar looking ones. But where it's like kind of like hollowed out there with the structural support in the middle or whatever that is. That's a Brazil pole when it looks like this. Red dirt. Everything about this is just huge Brazil. The only Brazil thing we're kind of missing is a sign. And maybe that's it right there. With black paint on the back. Most back of signs are not black. But in Brazil, they all are. For the most part. So this is just a very clear Brazil round to me. The problem with Brazil, as you'll notice, it's pretty big. Brazil's massive. It's the same problem with Russia. And this one's going to be even harder because we don't have the name of a town or a neighboring city or anything like that. So we're kind of in a tough spot. There is a specific region of Brazil that I can recognize based on the trees. They're called piranha pines. And they're a special weird looking pine tree that happens in this just general vicinity around the state of Parana. I've seen them down here. I've seen them up here a little bit. It's generally in that area though. and I'm not seeing those. We got just big palm trees. Really tough to say where we are. Really tough to say. I'm gonna go more north. I'm gonna go Bahia, and we'll just see. Yeah, so it was super, super west. Rondonia. Usually you wouldn't see a ton of western Brazil pop up. It's been popping up a lot lately. Maybe with the super red dirt, I should have gone there. But it just feels like a safer bet to not go over there. Brazil's tough to score points in. That's going to be big. We're only at 4K right now. Oh, interesting. This little bollard I do not recognize. It's really... There's a word for it. I don't remember it. It's very green, very lush. Super red dirt. Not great roads. We've got some green rolling hills. I want to say it's Lesotho. Lesotho's a little country within South Africa. And these hills don't look like typical Lesotho, I would say. But they're close enough. They're definitely close enough. It almost looks like if Iceland was more lush. That's how I describe this kind of general look. Even though it's not like Iceland, but kind of with the way the mountains and hills are. Roads aren't great. I guess I could see this being Eswatini. I think Lesotho is what I'm going to opt for. Yeah, let's go Lesotho. And the reason I'm getting that is like it just looks like Africa. And it's so lush and so green. I think it's going to be generally in this area somewhere. So it doesn't look like super hilly and mountainous like it is in here. I kind of want to go on like the corner or down in here. Yeah, I like down in here. Let's go like Morija. So it was actually just South Africa. Fairly close to Lesotho. So I had the general idea right. Halfway in between Eswatini and Lesotho. So I probably could have scored well in both. Maybe just should have even hedged, but no, I'm comfortable with my guess. This is Japan. White road lines on the outside. Also, you'll notice that the car is lower to the ground. It's a low cam. That will mainly be in Japan. Like, that's only in Japan. Or, like, you're never going to find a Japan round without low cam. Very occasionally and rarely it's in Taiwan. And it's also in Switzerland. Even though it will look like that sometimes in Luxembourg. And what do I mean by low cam other than it's just, like, clearly a little bit lower to the ground? You will also see a super wide blur. So, this is Japan. What else makes it Japan? Just the general foliage as well. The white road lines. And the clearly Japanese architecture. If you know anything about Japanese architecture, the houses look like this. You'll see a lot of, like, mainly white with this special type of roofing. And Japan's also really tough to do well in because Japan is a huge country. So Japan is, at least for me at this point, a lot of luck. Like, I'll do fairly well when it's Hokkaido, which is the northernmost island of Japan. I'll get that pretty often. There are a number of things to help you with that. Like, you'll see cabbage on the side of the road a lot. You'll see sometimes special heating units next to the houses. And what else? You'll see, like, special type of bollards and different, like, poles and things like that. We don't really have any of that here. So I don't really have much of a guess. I'm gonna go Yamaguchi. And wow, it was a really, really tough spot. I don't know if I've ever seen this. Sado Island. Really cool, but 17-5. Not the best score in the world. Not the worst. I mean, we did fairly well. Got the country all but once, and that was when it was South Africa and I went Lesotho. But just big countries for the most part. Japan, huge. US, huge. Russia, huge. Brazil, huge. South Africa's pretty large as well. So, in terms of the biggest countries, we were right near that in what you can actually get. Like, Australia is right up there. Argentina, Mexico, and Canada. But we got some very, very, very large countries. And we'll roll it back, play the same map again, try to beat the score. I just really want to talk through my my method on this. This is Turkey. How do we know? Well, the Turkish flags are certainly helpful, but it wasn't the first thing I noticed. First thing I noticed was the Turkish. It's not super easy to recognize languages at first, but you get the hang of it, or at least I did fairly quickly. This just looks like Turkish. It's pretty distinct to me. And we have .tr, the country code for Turkey. Everything about this is Turkey. Now, that's another one. We didn't mention it just a second ago. Turkey's also massive. Pretty tough to score super well in here as well. I'm trying to find the name of a city, and I maybe even saw one, but I am not recognizing it for sure. Like Geoguessr, Belediyesi. I don't know what that means. What does it look like to me? Really tough to say. Balaxilik. What is that? Looks kind of like that. Balıkesir. I'm okay with that for now. I kind of thought it would be more Western. Quick scan to the east as well. Yeah, I'm comfortable going there. Don't really have much of a better idea, so I'm comfortable saying we definitely could be in this little city. And we were not. We were super north. I didn't think it looked like this at all. Usually this will look like very beachy, very green, which I guess it's kind of hard to see that when you're in the middle of a city. But wow, I mean, like, this is an awesome location. It'd be nice if we could work our way, you know, closer to the water, closer outside the city. We can really see just how amazing this place looks. Can I get out onto the road, please? Nope. Can I not go forward? There we go. Usually I won't look at around like this after we have it, but I just really want to show you guys just how amazing this place looks. Turkey's crazy. It really is. There's some awesome looking places in the world. Turkey definitely is one of them, and here is the water. Those signs would have been fairly helpful, but yeah, that was definitely a tough round in terms of scoring a ton of points. This one, talked about this car earlier. Colombia, Mexico, Ecuador, Brazil. Colombia will have yellow plates, so I'm kind of not thinking Colombia. I think it's Brazil. You see a lot of brick. We see these poles. We see Portuguese, and you can recognize that. You see the C with the, I don't even know what to call that underneath. It's like not a tilde, but it's like underneath. I don't know what to call it again with the C's, but it's like Sao. And then above the A, you have a little mark as well. It's Portuguese, it's Brazil. Where in Brazil, really tough to score here, as we talked about. I'm kind of with the mountains and all the brick. I kind of want to go in the general Rio area maybe, but maybe a little bit more north. I think it could be kind of anywhere in this range. Let's just click a city. Let's go Almenara. It's not quite that big. Let's go Limoeira. Limoeira. We had the general right idea. It was Bahia. We went in the state underneath, which is Minas Gerais. Minas Gerais. I don't speak Portuguese. I'm a lot better at Spanish, but hopefully my butchering of that didn't bother you too much. Round 3 of 5. Also feels like South America. Could be Mexico as well. Right side driving, yellow lines. Let's see here. Same car. Ah, yes. I'm usually pretty bad with this country, but we're getting it this time. This little bollard, you really won't see those in Mexico, Brazil, Colombia. No yellow plates. It looks like Brazil, though. I think we can all agree. However, this is Spanish and not Portuguese, and these bollards appear in Ecuador. So this is Ecuador. Can we figure out where in Ecuador? Probably not. Probably not. Can't really read that sign. I think this might have our best bet of seeing something that we can use. Las Palmas? It doesn't quite say that. We're missing some letters, maybe. Las Palmeras? Potentially. We'll do a really quick scan in Ecuador. It is going to be Ecuador because of those bollards. But maybe I can see something that helps me out. We can see it's definitely pretty hilly here. So we'd like to go somewhere with some elevation, but not too much. Let's see. Let's see if I can find a Las, like, Palm something. Again, I'm just gonna do a quick scan. Nothing too crazy. I don't really think it's gonna be as far over east as this, but you never know. It could definitely be on the eastern side of these big mountains, but I just don't think it's gonna be in here. There's nothing in here. There are no roads. So no mappable roads equals we're not gonna be there. But I really hope I didn't see it. Also, really good chance that's just not the name of the town, but also it could be. We're gonna find out in just a minute. Another quick little scan. Not really seeing what I need to see. It definitely feels like we'd be over here. Maybe I'll click down in there for the time being. Which is like not a really good idea to score points because... Oh, La Palma. It's not quite what it said though. Kinda don't think that's it. Like, it's close. If you're going off that. But it's not quite there. And like I don't think it's probably a particularly uncommon name. Like we're seeing a lot of Palma. Palma Real. Palma Real. I think I'm probably about to give up. Gave it a fairly good look. A lot of loss in here, but I don't think it's gonna tell us anything crazy. All right. Should we play the probability game? What does this look like? Kind of looks like Brazil. Let me go in here. All right, we were more north. Quininde. And it was definitely not called like Las Palmas or Palmeras or anything like that. Just happened to be just a name of a like restaurant or something like that. But not too bad. We got Ecuador at least. We can still get 20K. All right, you see some green, white road lines. I think it's Australia right away, but it's weird looking. White road lines, just like the kind of general feel of the trees. Also, there's a helpful bollard. On the other side of that, it would be like a little red square up in this top area. So it is definitely Australia, but it looks really, really weird. Because Australia is usually a lot flatter than this, not so rocky. We have water to the northeast. Looks like it goes up all the way to the west too. It's definitely a river, I would say. I kind of want to go Perth side. Just because it doesn't, at least to me, look like it's over here. Even though this is where you do see some elevation. I guess I wouldn't be extremely shocked, but I think I am going to go Perth side. Maybe somewhere in here. Doesn't seem particularly elevated anywhere. And I really don't think I've ever seen it this far west. You can see the elevation, by the way, with like the bumps. If you see right in there, pretty elevated. Is it my best bet to go in a place like this? There's a river. Yeah, alright, why not? We're right on the river like this, so makes sense. This wraps around to the south, basically. Yeah, I guess why can't we be there? I think it checks out enough. 89 miles away. If only I would have looked at that one. I'd probably go, oh, that checks out enough. I probably wouldn't have clicked on that major highway, though. But, yeah, not too bad. Not too bad for Australia. Again, pretty tough to score points in there. I was thinking Perth, but it just didn't seem as elevated as I wanted it to be. So, pretty good for points there. And round 5 of 5. Looks like Europe. Little stubby antenna. I don't know what that means. But white road lines. It just looks how Europe looks. The trees look fairly northern, but not, like, too north. Like, there's one little birch tree, but I'm not really seeing a lot of those. So, I don't really think it's Finland or Russia. I'm thinking it's more, like, Poland up through Estonia, perhaps. Usually, I feel like in Lithuania and Latvia, and maybe even Estonia to a degree as well, you're seeing not really built-up roads. A lot of them are dirt. Not really seeing that here. I wish I knew what this little stubby antenna was. Just the real short antenna. I'm gonna have to make a mental note after this, but we do see a dirt road here. I really am thinking about throwing in one of those three: Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. Usually in those ones you'll see a pole or connecting pole. Sometimes it forms a tripod that helps you figure it out, but I really don't know on that. We don't see any of those, so can't just assume. I'm gonna go Lithuania. I'm comfortable with my guess. And it was actually Estonia. Really, really, really cool round. Actually, is that even property of Estonia? That might technically be like Finnish property. The reason I say that is because we have the dashed lines over there, which would usually separate countries. I'm not really sure whose property that would be. You know, maybe. Oh, you know what? That might even be Latvian territory. That's a crazy round. Is this going to tell me here? Let's go ahead and see. Sayre County. It is Estonia. All right, it is Estonia, but weird. Definitely really cool, though. Didn't quite break 20K. You know what? I'll do one more round. Try to get 20K. Okay, game number 3. Let's try and get 20K. Okay, interesting round 1. Right or white road lines, not right. English, Sean Wells store. Huh. This is an interesting round. White middle line. Okay. I think it's Australia again. Again, you just typically will not see white road lines in the US. Now, I thought for a second, I'm like, could this be New Zealand? I don't think so. But it looks very odd for Australia, I will say that. I'm tempted here to go Tasmania, but I've never really, I can't say never, it's there so rarely, but it just looks so weird for Australia, and I think it's Australia based on the infrastructure. I'm going Tasmania. It was Australia, it was just super north. Have to remember it looks like that up there. It's gonna be tough to get 20K. It's going to be nearly impossible. We're going to have to battle back. It's going to be France. I guess you'll see blue and white arrow signs in France. You'll see these signs in France as well. It says rude something, and that's road or street or whatever. You will also see these little bollards with what is usually a red stripe. Sometimes they are gray, as they are in this case. It looks close to Luxembourg, I would say, just based off feel. So I will go very close to Luxembourg. And I was right about it. Real close to Germany as well. Not bad. That keeps us in the game. And France is also really large. Tough to score points there, but that's a large guess. Round 3, it's Indonesia. Probably. How do I know that? I don't for sure, but I see the language Palawan. That's helpful, I believe. A lot of motorbikes in Indonesia. A lot of these type of, like, they're three-wheelers. It is right side driving, though. Could it be the Philippines? You will also see a lot of similar things in the Philippines. They are right side driving. And they have these concrete slab roads. And there's English here. Usually you don't see English in Indonesia. So I think this is actually the Philippines. You will also see commonly greenish license plates in the Philippines, which we see here. Yeah, I think this is the Philippines. And Palawan does sound quite familiar. So this is Palawan. We're actually going to score really well here. The Philippines is also, again, very tough to do well in because it's particularly small. But can we find out exactly where we are? Brooks Point. It's a Ligas Point. I think we're going to be able to do well here. So long as we can actually find where this point is. Now, anytime you see a point, it's typically going to be on, you know, a point of land. So I think we might be able to find this. Will I be able to 5K? It's unlikely. Unlikely. But it's not impossible. And I actually really do want to give a good look for this. As we'll just continue to work our way up. Show me a Brooks Point, please. I'm gonna be so excited when I see it, but I just might not. That's also a real thing. North Cut. We got a lot to go. All right, we're not gonna give up hope. We got a lot to look for. Not seeing it yet, though, obviously. Also, devastating if I missed it already. But I'm looking for... I wasn't even looking for Mabuhay, which... maybe that doesn't even mean anything. But, definitely don't see it yet. Now, it probably isn't a more populated place, so it's good that we're working our way up north. Show me a Brooks Point. Not quite yet. It's a grind, though. Usually I would play with a time limit, so I don't have the capability of doing this. But none today. So I am going to check those little islands. It's probably up here, but I just want to be sure about that. Matahuay, that's not exactly what it said. Although it is close. Close doesn't mean anything in this. Show me a point, please. That's a point, but it's not labeled as such. Matahum. Show me a Mabuhay. It's even pronounced like that. Not sure. I really think we're going to see a Brooks Point based on how many points have been labeled. I really do. I feel good about it. Not seeing it here. Come on, dude. I mean, this is probably where it's going to be. If it's going to be anywhere. Oh my goodness. Still a lot to go. I might just like speed up this part so you guys aren't forced to watch this. I'll be back. Wow, I was literally about to give up, by the way. Just giving up. I looked through the entire thing. Brooks Point is not even a small point. It's an actual name of a city. Oh my goodness. Right when I was about to give up, I zoomed out to just click and I just read Brooks Point. Beautiful. All right. Probably down in here. Is this Mabuhay? I'm going to say Brooks Point is probably clearly here. Let's see here. Machinery and general merchandise. That's pretty vague. Pretty broad. A lot of merchandise in there. Can't really see where water is. We see a Coop Bank. That might be what we look for next. So we see BPI Direct Bank. We see Co-op. Instead of Coop, as I said, it could be Co-op Bank, Brooks Point. So if we're on a north-south road, that to the east checks out. Kind of. But I don't really see anything else that checks out with it. So I think it's safe to say that this is not exactly where we are. But I'm not giving up. I want the points. Oh, hold on. There's a Co-op Bank. Could that be the one? Maybe. Oh, hold on. I saw end credit. This says maybe accredited. Okay, so that's not quite. I'm kind of cool to just throw it there anyway. Like, we're going to score really well. I don't know if I'll 5K. But based off of looking around, we see a Coop Bank in there. That's to the southwest. I mean, I feel like it's maybe as close as we're going to get. Yeah, I think so. Like, these other stores don't really match up to me. But I'm kind of done looking. I've done well enough. If it's not even in here, it's not even in here. But hopefully it's a 5K. 5K, got it. Let's go. Woo! Feels good. Feels good. It took me long enough on this one, but 5K. Some of the other like stores and restaurants didn't match up, but things can change. Things might not be labeled correctly. We 5K'd. Happy about that. We can still break 20. We're at, oh, it's gonna be tough. We're at 11-3-1-6 after 3. This is a very tough round. So I thought South Africa immediately, just based on the color of the soil. But it's weird. It's so weird. That's the strangest fence I've probably ever seen. They're wheels built into it. I'm not really sure what's going on there. I don't know. Where else could this be if not South Africa? I think I'm just going to go South Africa. It's kind of my best bet. Sun has us in the southern hemisphere. Reason I can tell that. Little red arrow is the north. Sun is in the north, and that means you're in the southern hemisphere. I'm probably just going to throw near Pretoria. It'll probably be somewhere in that range if I'm right. Could it be Australia? It just doesn't really feel like it to me. 39 miles away. Okay. That's really good. It's usually going to be somewhere in there when it looks like that in South Africa. I think we can still get 20K here. 16,147 going into round 5. It looks like the US. Yellow middle lines. Green street signs. Wolford Road. It's hilly. It's kind of all we have. Maybe that has a front plate. Tough to say. It looks small. Can't really get a good look on the plates. But it does seem hilly. That's like a Jeep. I don't really even see a plate on that. I do not know. I mean, it's got to be the US. I feel like there's just not a ton to go off of, though. I might just go like Virginia. It's very hilly. Which makes me want to go like somewhere in the Appalachian area. I think Virginia gives us the best chance. Maybe North Carolina. All right, let's do it. It was Ohio. 3-8. And we get it by 9 points. So if I didn't 5K that Philippines round, who knows? But yeah, definitely a big recovery after the Australia to come back and score 20K anyway. I took my sweet time on it, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. More Geoguessr videos to come in the future. See you in the next one. Take it easy.
I hit it at the park, bend bones. See me high step to the end zone. My life like a game, Nintendo. Playing with the best, let them know. Get off the track, the train's coming through. Yeah, promise you get in my way, then you best believe I'ma just run over you. Yeah, I'ma turn taking it back to the house. Defensive joke, I'm laughing so loud.